just beneath the waves, there are creatures with biological superpowers that completely defy logic, break the laws of physics, and, yeah, sometimes fuel our absolute worst nightmares. I mean, the survival tactics down there are so dark and ruthlessly creative, they honestly sound totally made up.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. Ocean masterminds. 2. Bizarre biological artillery. 3. Deep sea enigmas. And 4. Parasitic nightmares. All right, Section 1, Ocean Masterminds. We're kicking things off with the ultimate shapeshifters of the sea, cephalopods, and specifically, octopuses. These guys are actually older than the dinosaurs, and their intelligence, it's profoundly alien to us. So unlike our very centralized human brains, a mature octopus has a massive central brain that connects directly to independent brain-like networks in every single one of its 8 arms. And get this, when building neurons, they literally have 3 times more capacity than we do. It's an incredible distributed neurology hardwired for high-speed learning, which is exactly how these solitary, self-taught creatures survive such a harsh, unforgiving ocean.
And their survival tactics? Totally unmatched. They are the undisputed kings of camouflage. Now, even though they're completely colorblind, they can change their body texture and color in just 1/5 of a second. They essentially see with their skin by controlling 20 million tiny pigment sacs to perfectly match the ocean floor. Plus, they're incredibly calculating ambush predators. Divers in the UK have actually documented them building these complex fortress dens, complete with doors made of scallop shells and surrounded by these eerie crab graveyards, just full of empty shells from their victims. Speaking of the UK, they're right now experiencing a massive 2025 population bloom of the common octopus. It's the largest marine invasion in decades, and it's absolutely devastating local crab and lobster fishing grounds.
But there's a really sad catch. Researchers using baited camera surveys have tracked how this high-speed genius eventually hits a tragic biological wall. It's called terminal senescence. Basically, once they reproduce, their brilliant minds just systematically shut down. Their cellular density drops, their skin degrades into these white lesions, and their massive appetite completely vanishes. It is just a rapid, biologically programmed end. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Bizarre Biological Artillery. Now we're pivoting from deep intellect to sheer, unadulterated physics, because we're talking about creatures that have evolved biological weapons of mass destruction, 4,800 degrees Celsius. Just let that sink in for a second. That is roughly the surface temperature of the sun, and it's being generated underwater right here on Earth by a wildly diverse array of unassuming little crustaceans. We're talking about an incredible variety of species, from the tiny, burrowing pistol shrimp to the highly aggressive, fiercely patient mantis shrimp. The sheer diversity of these heavily armed creatures is mind-blowing, and it proves that nature's weaponry is infinitely more powerful than anything human-made. So how exactly do these shrimp pull off something that sounds impossible? Well, the whole mechanism relies on Bernoulli's principle. Basically, when these specialized shrimp are waiting in their tropical burrows and decide to strike with their enlarged appendages, the extreme acceleration moves the water so insanely fast that the localized pressure absolutely plummets. The timeline of this strike is absolutely staggering. We're talking milliseconds. In just a millisecond, that massive drop in pressure creates a low-pressure vacuum bubble in a process called cavitation. And when the surrounding water rushes back in to fill that empty space, it actually exceeds the speed of sound. The resulting implosion creates a devastating 218 decibel acoustic shockwave, a quick flash of light called sonoluminescence, and briefly superheats the water to that sun-like temperature. For the mantis shrimp, the sheer kinetic force and the collapse of that cavitation bubble create these secondary shockwaves that completely stun or kill their prey, even if the initial physical punch somehow misses its target. But, power is totally useless without control. To aim this reality-defying artillery, the mantis shrimp relies on one of the most complex visual systems on the entire planet. They basically have a form of biological supervision. They can detect multispectral light patterns that are completely invisible to human eyes. It is essentially the ultimate targeting system for the ocean's most intense heavy artillery. Now, while those shrimp completely break fluid dynamics to hunt, down in the pitch-black abyss, the goblin shark uses a totally different kind of artillery. Down there, food is incredibly scarce, and the goblin shark is a pretty slow swimmer, so it evolved something called slingshot feeding. It can literally unhinge and project its jaws forward at 3.1 meters per second. That is the fastest jaw speed ever recorded for a fish. It shoots its mouth out to almost 10% of its body length just to snatch prey right out of the dark.
Which brings us to Section 3, Deep Sea Enigmas.
So descending into the midwater, which is the largest habitat on Earth, has historically been a massive problem for scientists. Basically, dragging nets all the way up to the surface ruined and deformed all the fragile, soft, gelatinous animals living down there because of the extreme pressure changes. But recently, researchers completely rethought how they do science. By deploying deep-sea ROVs equipped with non-invasive lasers and amazing 3D squid microscopes, they can now scan and image living cellular structures right there in the water. Thanks to this next-gen tech, they discovered 31 brand-new species off the coast of Brazil in a matter of days, all without harming a single delicate animal. And among those amazing discoveries was the deep-sea siphonophore. Now, this thing looks like one massive, 150-foot-long giant jellyfish, but it's actually a staggering deep-sea illusion. It's not a single animal at all. It's a massive colony built from thousands of individual clones called zooids, and each one does a highly specific job to keep the collective alive. These cloned colonies are voracious carnivores. They drift through the midwater and completely dominate the habitat by deploying these massive webs of tentacles packed with stinging cells called nematocysts. Some species even use eerie, glowing lures to trick their prey into swimming straight into the trap. In fact, they are the very first marine invertebrate ever discovered that can actually emit red bioluminescence. They're just a perfect example of the formidable and totally wild solutions evolution has crafted for the dark ocean. All right, Section 4, Parasitic Nightmares. We are leaving the eerie beauty of the deep sea behind and heading straight into the realm of pure biological horror. Forget your standard garden earthworms. These predators use methods that are literally out of a sci-fi movie to secure a meal. Under the ocean sand, you have the terrifying bobbit worm, which grows over 3 meters long and just waits to snap its jaws so fast it literally slices passing fish completely in half. And on land, you've got the velvet worm. That's a prehistoric predator older than the dinosaurs that shoots jets of sticky slime right out of its head to freeze its prey in place before eating them alive. Then, there is the sheer psychological horror of the zombie snail parasite. This thing invades the snail's eye stalks, making them pulsate with these bright, noticeable colors. And then, it literally hijacks the mind of its host. It forces the snail out into the open so it gets eaten by a bird. Why? Because the bird's digestive tract is exactly where the parasite needs to be to complete its life cycle. Nature is wildly, wildly ruthless. And just in case you thought we were safe, nature provides an absolutely chilling reminder of its dark creativity for us humans, too. The guinea worm grows for a full year inside the human body before painfully burning its way out through the skin, like a literal thread of fire. And the African eyeworm? It actually crawls visibly right across the surface of a live human eyeball. Yeah, absolute nightmare fuel. From the shape-shifting, staggering genius of the octopus to the diverse species of mantis shrimp snapping vacuum bubbles with the heat of the sun, all the way down to massive deep-sea clones and mind-controlling parasites, our planet is absolutely brimming with alien superpowers. It really leaves us with one provocative thought. While we're so busy looking up at the stars for signs of life, what other horrifying, beautiful, and reality-defying marvels are just waiting to emerge from right beneath the waves? Keep your curiosity diving, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.